Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's prayer live stream. If you would like to have prayers lifted up publicly, you can put them in the chat below. And if you would like to keep them private, send me a direct message. Take a second, calm your hearts, calm your minds, and get yourself ready for some prayer. Tonight, I lift up in prayer all that are helping to keep faithful spaces up and running, from bishops to pastors to deacons to deaconesses and ushers, treasurers, those who are on synod councils, those who repair the buildings, those who contribute to the offering, all of the people who help with the day-to-day life of faithful spaces, particularly those who are working in nonprofits, those who are chaplains, those who are caring for religious colleges and schools. And we pray for all who are in those leadership positions to operate as equitably and just as they are able, to be good stewards of their resources, and to open the doors as wide as possible. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We pray for everybody in the upcoming election, whichever side you're voting for. We pray that you are able to participate, have access to polling spaces, and that there will be a fair election with results that come, excuse me, quickly and are respected. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Lift up prayers this week for all who are feeling anxious, those who are experiencing trauma or grief or any other long lasting state of being that they are wading through. May all have access to resources that they need and desire. And may those who are supporting individuals on mental health journeys also be buoyed up. So we give thanks today for therapists and social workers, for life coaches, for all friends that get good ears for venting, family members who provide support, caregivers, nurses, doctors, on all of the folk in between. And maybe we don't pray enough for people who do things like provide Ask a Nurse services, or who triage, or the folk who write all of those articles on like WebMD that enable people to sort of uh, privately and confidentially try to understand how their body is working. When we all have access to support that is accurate, may we all have the ability to be cared for as we care for others. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We pray for those who are in need of healing from respiratory illnesses. Particular prayers lifted up to all who have experienced wildfires, either those in the recent past or in many years back, that still continue to have lingering impacts. We pray for firefighters, the emergency responders, and all who respond when fires are a dangerous situation, and a prayer of safety and stewardship for all of the forests on the West Coast. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We lift up today prayers of gratitude for successful surgery, prayers for all who are still in recovery and who are healing from surgery. We pray in particular for my family member who is recovering, and we pray for all of the folk who make hospitals and surgeries happen. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. God, be with those who have differing abilities, especially be with those who have immune compromises, who have a hard time leaving the house when there are pandemics, or when there are times when it's hard to utilize buses or public transportation. God, make pathways for all so that they may be able to explore more freely, to roll in spaces without obstacles, and to communicate in as many places as possible. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. God, we lift up teachers, those who teach in public schools, private schools, charter schools, those who teach in Sunday schools, in college, those who are teaching in every avenue. We pray for tutors. We pray for those who write academic books, those who are in dissertation processes, those who are counting up their units to see if they will graduate. Be with all who are seeking to develop themselves. And may everyone who seeks it find financial freedom from the debts that sometimes come along with exploring some of those educational processes. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We pray for all who have encountered natural disasters. We pray for those recovering from hurricanes. We pray for those who are recovering from civil wars and rumors of wars. We pray for those in occupied territories, those who are in spaces of long negotiated treaties, followed or unfollowed, those living in between the edge spaces of safety and peace. God, be particularly with folk who are refugees or who are displaced from their homes, and help everyone to have safe and equitable spaces where they can dwell. May peace prevail on the earth more quickly than we expect, more abundantly than we expect, and more permanently than we expect. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We pray tonight for all of the critters and wildlife that makes up our planet. Help this world to function in ways that supports life, growth of things that are green, and particularly abundant with things that decrease the amount of carbon in the air. Help us to be people who clean up messes long left, whether they were from our ancestors or from our own making. Help us to be people who are seeking forward solutions that enable this planet to be an equitable space for as many as possible. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We pray for all who experience anguish and grief. We pray for those who are grieving loved ones, particularly those who are grieving the loss of partners. We are lifting up those who are grieving loss through divorce, those who grieve the ways that that divorce has shaped and changed their own personal life, and all of the ways that we can be people who are supporting families of all shapes and varieties. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. And I pray tonight that all who feel like they are on the outside looking in find ways that they can participate safely, sanely, and with the equitable access they deserve. God, you trampled down death. You endured humanness and puberty to be present in this world. You taught those around you through parables and other poetry, equitable ways that we could ensure kindness for all. Be with us in palpable ways this night and in every moment that is possible. Teach us to be people of the resurrection, stoking life in all of the edges that need reinvigoration. And help us with all those things that are outside of our control that we can't change or make better to give to you, because you'll do your darndest to try to resurrect those things too. And I encourage you this evening to lift up things that maybe are a bit personal that you want to share one-on-one with a faith leader or directly to God. And now here from the Garden of Gethsemane, I want to encourage you to lift up prayers that are so private and personal that you only want to share them with God, or a trusted faith leader who will keep them in confidence. You can share them in direct message here or through email, or find a trusted person you want to share your prayers with. But remember that God is able to hold even what is hard. Take some time and ponder some of those prayers.